All right, welcome back to another episode of the Deduction Desk. I'm Joe Sager. And today we're going to be discussing an interesting topic that I feel most questions come from, especially around wedding season, which is, are there opportunities for me to take any tax deductions when it comes to my own wedding? So are there opportunities to take a deduction? What does that look like? If I'm not an influencer or if I am an influencer, are there differences in what I have the capabilities to do, right? And obviously, if you're an influencer, you probably have a little bit more. So we're going to touch on both. But you start to rack up the cost of weddings, right? And you start to realize there's got to be some way for me to take some tax off of my plate,
or you're just
because of what I spent, or you're hoping, right? Or you're digging, which is most of the time what's happening. But so today we're going to focus on that, right? We're going to talk a little bit about each different type of person, what deductions would be. But let's start off with, like, what are the myths? Like, what do people usually think they can do, and that's not really the reality?
Usually you'll get a client at least once a year who calls and says, hey, my friend's accountant wrote off their entire wedding. Like, I want to do that too.
You're like, do you want to go to jail too?
Yeah, exactly. It's like your friend's accountant committed tax fraud.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I mean, look, generally weddings for everyone are personal. Right. And there's a code in the IRS handbook, code 262, right? Or section 262. And it basically says that inherently personal expenses cannot be claimed as a business expense. All right. You getting your hair done. You say, oh, I need to get my hair done because I'm going to be on camera. Or I have to go see a client and I need to make sure my hair looks good for that, right? Because of the fact that you also use your hair outside of work.
Doesn't constitute as a deduction.
You cannot deduct your haircuts. As many people that are on there that say, oh, I deduct every haircut, I deduct my personal chef, I deduct all these things. It's like, no, at the end of the day, you can try it and you can try to get away with it. You can try to sneak one past the goalie. But if it goes to tax court, section 262. Not going to pass.
What if you could prove you look like a slob 90% of the time, but only look good when you work? Maybe here's a picture of me out of bed and throughout the day, but I didn't work this day. Here's me working, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's all kinds of creative stuff, but I think they've put this in.
They know that's the case, right?
It's not going to fly.
So most of the deductions that you think, all right, stuff that I'm doing in my everyday life is not going to constitute as a deduction that I'm using towards the wedding.
Yeah, 99.9% of it, right? Like, there's little things we can do to maybe get some delta. Like donating your food.
Like, and that's stuff that we're going to get into, right?
Yeah, we'll get into it.
But like, let's talk about things that aren't personal, like the wedding dress, the ring, the honeymoon, like how.
Yeah, all of that is,
those are all personal things.
Personal. You got this wedding dress for your wedding. Like, your wedding is inherently considered a personal event according to the IRS, right? It's presumed to be personal. Right? You can try to prove it's not, and that your wedding is a business decision, which in many cases it is, at least for one of the
technically,
two parties, right? So, but at the end of the day, there's only certain things you can actually deduct. 99% of the things you're spending money on are not going to qualify. Okay, now there may be clever ways to take a deduction. But generally, you should be presuming that everything in this wedding is personal, and you should be using your post-tax money to pay for it.
Kind of the same concept that we've spoken about multiple times, which is ordinary and necessary for your business, right? Buying a wedding ring is not ordinary and necessary for your business to be successful.
No.
Neither is buying a wedding dress or buying flowers or going on a honeymoon. All that stuff is not ordinary and necessary.
Well, a honeymoon for sure, right? Like, there's like a story of an influencer who argued that she documented her entire honeymoon, and the IRS's stance was, would you have gone on the honeymoon if you weren't an influencer?
Would you have gone on it even if you,
weren't creating content?
The answer is
yes. So even in that scenario, it's not going to stand up to an IRS audit. Like, you want to take the risk, good luck to you. But it's not going to pass.
All right, so let's talk about, obviously, maybe if you are an influencer, or what are some things that you can, number one, put yourself in a position to take advantage of because you are an influencer, and then two, the things that you should be thinking about that you're not, that you're probably going to owe a little bit more tax on for using it.
This is the one category of people that could probably get away with writing off their wedding. Okay?
You are an influencer.
You're an influencer, and as a result, you have documented your wedding the whole time
Right.
up to this. You have sponsorships, you have branded deals that are associated with the wedding.
Right.
You're hiring people to cut and edit your videography,
Right.
so that it can be used for social media purposes, not for personal use.
Right. Not for your home video.
Correct. A lot of those things now, it becomes a lot more interesting of a conversation. Without going into details and knowing, like, and speaking in broad hypothetical terms, I think the place we should put this is maybe there is an angle that this becomes deductible. It just needs to be approached in the right way. And you probably need to have a one-on-one conversation with the person who's doing this actual
So
deduction.
sponsorships, meaning like there's companies that will sponsor your suit or sponsor the shoes you're wearing or the watch that you're wearing, or brand collaboration. I guess it's kind of the same concept, right? Like you're utilizing plates from my set and they're getting presented through social media because they're actually at your event. Like those are things that you could say, all right off the bat, I'm incorporating other businesses and they're using me because of my business is influencing. But it wouldn't.
Or even a venue that says, hey, we want to sponsor your.
We want you to be here because we know you have 1 million followers and they're going to follow you. So in order for it to be an actual deduction, though, it couldn't just be, hey, here's all my normal content, and all of a sudden randomly it's here's my wedding.
Yeah.
It needs to be an actual filmography of let's start, here's us getting engaged, here's all the steps that we took to get there, here's us getting prepared, here's us looking at the venue, here's the actual wedding, right?
And more than anything, there has to be income that's being earned from this. Right? And this is the other side of it. It's like, yes, you're an influencer, you want to write off everything you spent. Well, that free wedding dress you got, or that free venue that you got a giant discount on, there's a value to that, and that's taxable income to you. So you pick up those things as income, and then you can take some expenses against it. You may end up in a situation where you're trying to write off your wedding,
and you're
actually paying taxes on it, because you've gotten so many things for free.
So would we argue that, okay, I'm sponsored by whatever wedding dress company, and the wedding dress company pays for me to wear this dress, and then I'm not paying for it. So whatever the cost of the dress is, I'm actually going to take on as taxable income.
That's income.
Because I did that. But would that be considered, I guess that's the point, right? It's considered income to me. That's how I'm getting income out of my business, because I'm getting the write-off on that.
But if you got that and you spent $10,000 on the flights for you and your family to get to this destination wedding that you're doing, and you had a free dress that came, you probably are still showing a net loss, right? And then, you have to, if you're putting on a wedding that's going to be content, probably need to have people that attend it. You start blurring these lines where I don't really want to give an opinion without seeing the actual scenario. But I could see a case where you're like, hey, I'm sponsored by Netflix for my wedding, let's say. Right?
Yeah, that's an actual documentary or whatever it is that they're doing.
They're paying you, Netflix is paying you to throw a wedding. Now things have completely changed. If your level of content isn't on par with Netflix, if you're posting, you're getting 200 likes on Instagram, that's not level. You don't have the argument to make of, hey, I did this whole wedding for content. Right? Those are probably some of the places to look before we even go down the road of, hey, I'm an influencer, I'm throwing a wedding. It's like, all right, are all these check boxes marked off? So then what about normal people, right? That's probably
majority of who's watching this and who will watch this. The average person, right? If someone's, was married 2 years ago, what are some deductions that I could potentially take advantage of that I most likely didn't take advantage of?
Okay, so this is one of the biggest traps, I think. So inviting your business partners, inviting your clients, your vendors, whomever, to your wedding is not inherently a deduction.
Because they're not there for business.
Because they're not there for business, one. Two, you have to document what you guys are discussing there for business and why it's necessary for this person to be at your wedding. There's also additional things that factor into that. But now, let's say I do a cocktail hour specifically for the people I work with. And we host a business cocktail hour that is only going to be the people I invited. That could be deductible. That tracks to a point where it's
it's exclusive to business.
Only these 20 people that are attending my 100-person wedding, only these 20 people who I work with regularly, I want you to come to this networking thing where we're all gonna talk business, and we're going to all meet up the day before the wedding. That seems like that's something that could be considered deductible. right? Now, if you're paying for their flights to come out there, you're paying for these other things, you have to start doing the calculation on how many days are they spending for business versus personal.
Right.
And we're establishing in this scenario, the ceremony and the reception are probably personal and not business.
Right.
So flying them out there, they're there for 2 days, they spend 1 day at this networking thing, 1 day at your wedding. It's probably a 50% deduction on the flight. Maybe you can make the argument that it's a full deduction because they had to fly there and you're staying for an extra day because that's the logistics of the flight.
Yeah.
But even then, you're now making stretches and you're doing things like you don't need to do. Why are you throwing a reception for your clients?
I was just thinking, like, my wife would have murdered me if I was like, listen, I have a business event that I'm doing before the wedding.
Day before the wedding.
And none of your friends are allowed to come, only my business, so I can write off half of their flights because we did a destination wedding.
It's the definition of spending $1 to save 35 cents.
Yeah, well, and this is the point of debunking this, right? Is like, let's have the conversation about everything that you thought you would be able to do, and then ultimately realize that unless you're sponsored by Netflix, or unless you have, serious brand recognition and serious, income coming in, you're more than likely going to pay more taxes on what you're doing than actually getting the deduction. That is never really going to make sense for you to really try and write the wedding off.
Maybe it does. Like, maybe there is an idea behind it where it's like, hey, me inviting these people solidifies our relationship and it makes our business, relationship stronger.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to invite them out because I want them to come out here and I want to do this genuinely for these people because they're important for my business and it will, make
me
grow.
more. Well, I was thinking about a scenario where, you invite someone to your wedding who you've had a good relationship with, but this really like solidifies the relationship and now all of a sudden they're more willing to have you manage their money or more willing for you to do their taxes, and all of a sudden it's a $50,000 a year client that you didn't have before, and they didn't become the client unless they had an event that they agreed to, which is the wedding. So
you
maybe
supply 10% of their goods and now they're going to say, hey, after that wedding, I like you so much, I want you to give me I'll buy 30%.
Right.
So there may be things that
to that capacity,
there's a reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
So that seems like that's one way. The other way I've seen people do it,
right,
and this is for like the real cheapskates. No offense to anybody who's watching who's a client that's done
this. There's the people that are still on this video. Give me something.
Yeah. So we've had clients that have done like an actual business conference.
Yeah.
The weekend before their wedding, like in a destination wedding, right? Like you're getting married in Cabo.
Yeah.
So you do an actual event the weekend before where you need to like do your actual meetings.
Yeah.
You fly people out, you pay for people's rooms, you pay for people's stay, you bring your employees out. And it's an actual legitimate business conference, which is deductible.
And then they just happen to be there and they're at your wedding the following week.
And then they're already out there, so they stay for the wedding. And that portion is not going to be deductible.
Right.
But hey, you got them out there and did these other things.
Yeah, I think for anybody who's watching and saying, all right, like there's probably some ways that we can do this. The reality is, imagine yourself, I don't know if this is exactly how it works, right? Imagine yourself in court and the judge is like, please tell me how this wedding between you and your spouse was a business decision and you want all this deductions compared to you guys actually getting married for the sake of getting married.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so difficult to prove, and the time frame it takes for you to create an argument for the amount of deductions that is probably going to be negligible at the end of the day anyway.
I think even something like with like the business meetings, right, and having the networking reception and all that, maybe it gives an avenue to your guests who are business associates to be able to deduct a portion of their flights. Like if you're asking them to fly out somewhere, it may open that avenue if that's something you want to do, but it's not going to help you.
Right, it's not going to help you, it's going to help them, right? Yeah. So maybe there's a way to look at it from that perspective.
And once again, this is just us spitballing. Please do not.
Yeah, don't start writing stuff off your wedding and use our video in court.
Yeah, exactly.
We have not approved any of this. We're just
co-signing any
having conversation. Yeah. So let's talk about, things that, we talked a little bit about like donating for charity, right? What are some things that maybe we can utilize for the wedding that we've just had that maybe we can get some deductions for?
Sure. So I just want to quickly add one more quick point before we jump onto that. So there was a funny thing I saw while we were like looking up things to talk about for this this topic, and one of them was a woman who invited her entire bridal party were employees of hers. Okay. Which I think that's like red flag number one. Right. You have no friends other than people you have to hire to be around you.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So, if you're the one hiring them, that is a little bit of a red flag.
So her entire bridal party were her employees. Okay. Right? And actually, it turned out that because she paid for their flights, she paid for their food, she paid for their dresses, she gave them gifts, that there was a compensation aspect to it, which turned into
That's how much she spent on them.
that she actually had to. They were like, you have to report this on their W-2s.
Oh, so now it costs them more to go to your wedding.
Yeah.
That's a conversation you don't want to have at the end of the year. You get a tax return, you thought you made 100, you actually made 120. And it's because you went to the wedding.
Yeah, this is for when you went to the wedding. And I got you that dress.
Went to the wedding you were forced to go to by your boss who hired you. Interesting.
Okay, so now what are things you can actually donate?
Yeah.
Right? What are things you can actually write off? So I think the easiest and cleanest one, and this is applicable for everybody, and this isn't just applicable for weddings, it's for any event that you ever do. You're able to write off the excess catering and decorations, like, for flowers, things like that. There are organizations that you can donate this stuff to. You just have to coordinate with them before the actual event. Right. So Feeding America, I think Roses is another one. These are places that City Harvest. You call them ahead of time. You tell them, hey, we're doing an event. We're gonna have this much food left over. Please document what we donate to you guys. They'll come over there. They'll grab the food, and it's a write-off. So many people that we talk to that we've mentioned this to, and they're like, hey, I just threw away everything.
Thousands.
All this food, like trays and trays of food. Yeah. It's like now you get a tax deduction for it, and it probably goes to a better cause than just the garbage.
Right, then your fridge for a week and then throw it out.
And like the flowers, like how much tens of thousands of dollars people sometimes spend on flowers, and now you get to actually take a deduction for it by donating it to somebody. I don't know who's reusing roses, but somebody's using them.
Yeah, maybe there's an event around the corner that people pay discount for flowers that are already used.
So these are things that you can take advantage of, and it's not going to pay off your wedding. It's not going to make it free. It's not going to. There's no scenario where it's going to be free, right?
Right.
Even in a best case scenario, you're some influencer that's throwing something. By the time you pick up the income that you're earning from this, right?
Right.
It's a business expense. You're claiming your wedding's a business expense. There has to be, at some point, income that's earned. I wonder, what if you're a wedding planner and you did a wedding for your own business, like for yourself? You got married.
You were the wedding planner.
But you're like,
using that.
I'm going to use all this stuff, and I'm going to use this footage in the future to like do sales and show people this information. I think that's like another one of those great topics where I wouldn't want to talk about it on YouTube. Right. But it's definitely
so if you're a wedding planner, call us and we'll dive a little bit deeper in.
We'll dive a little deeper, and we'll get a tax attorney on board.
Yeah, right. But that for sure. I mean, I think what ties me up that really makes it unusable is you have to pick up income to some extent for what you've done, right? So this is an event that I know I'm going to get income from. I have wedding planners or companies that are wanting to use me because I'm planning weddings. So they want me to refer to their wedding dress shop. They want me to refer to their suit store, their flower shop, their catering company. And so all that stuff you're picking up as income, and then you pay for the wedding, and then the outcome is you actually made more money and you owe more tax on that than it would have just been paying for the wedding yourself. Yeah. The benefit would be all of this tailored content that I've created for myself is going to help my business in the future.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're still going to make the arguments like, okay, so you wouldn't have gotten married.
Right.
It's like maybe you can say, hey, I wouldn't have sprung for the light up dance floor.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to show people what it looks like to have it. And even then, it's like kind of now questionable. Like, is it really a deduction? And I think there's just so much gray area in something like that where you are in that industry.
Someone's in the industry, right?
So, no opinion.
Right, no opinion.
All right, so then there's an interesting aspect to this, which is the gifts you get.
Right.
Which people always ask about. I'm sure you were rolling in it with your wedding gifts.
We did okay.
What'd you guys do with it? You just went and deposited it into the bank?
We set up our first joint account, and then we used it for like our first home. We have things that we updated, stuff that we worked on. For our new daughter now and my other daughter, we haven't really used all of it at that point, but that's what we used it for. So
there's a couple of different thoughts in there, right? The first one is if you have a family that's very, very wealthy, right? This is a good opportunity for the parents to maybe pay for some of this stuff. Right. Because they can make the argument that, hey, we invited all these people. This is a wedding that, we're throwing it just as much as the kids. Right. And now it's a good way to at least spend some of that money that would have maybe you gift it to your kids and then the kids spend it on the wedding.
Okay.
Or the kids are spending the money out of their own pocket and then you're going to give them an inheritance in the future that they're going to pay tax on.
Right.
It's like, hey, if you're going to spend the money anyway and we're going to be sending it to you and we're going to be paying estate taxes on it.
Yeah.
We'll just...
No, this is a good topic because I feel like a majority of weddings, to some extent, the parents are involved in the cost of the wedding, right?
But I think a very small minority of people have more than $32 million in assets.
Oh, okay. So you need that much before you're doing that. Okay.
So if you're over that number and you're worried about how to deduct your wedding.
Right. You probably should.
Well, you know
we
what?
should probably talk to you. Maybe you're doing the right stuff.
Yeah,
right?
actually, those are the kind of people that
or they have the account that you spoke about before that completed tax fraud in every scenario and you're in trouble soon.
So that's one portion of it, right? The other portion of it is the gifts you actually receive, right? We've had people call us and ask, it's like, hey, is this income tax to me? Like, I got all this money. It's like, no, because everybody's allowed to receive about $18,000 from any
individual gift, right?
There's 20 people in this office. If every single one of them gave me $18,000, I wouldn't have a tax consequence.
Right.
And if I gave every single one of them $18,000, I wouldn't have a tax consequence.
Right.
Okay, but if I gave Joe $100,000, then I have to file certain reports because I went over the $18,000 limit to him.
That you would have to pay the tax on for gifting it to me.
Correct.
Right.
Now, similarly, if you're married, right? If I was married, and then I can give 18 to you, my wife can give 18 to you.
So now
I can
we're at
give 18 to your wife.
Right.
And my wife can give 18 to your wife. So
now you're doubling it even more.
Exactly.
Right? You're at 72,000.
So now we're at 72 that we're able to pass between each other without having to file any paperwork, right? So as long as you're not getting gifts from any one person or any couple over 32,000 or any one person above 18,000, there's not really any requirement for the giftee never has to file anything. Okay. It's the giftor that would have to file something. So if somebody gave you a giant gift, they'll have to file.
Right, file gift tax.
Exactly. Outside of that, it's just, this is one of those things where it's too good to be true than it is.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody's telling you you can write off your wedding, don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And, even if you're somebody who's like, I'm in the business of this, I'm a content creator, which is like one of the only angles I can think of where this works.
Yeah.
Even that is very hard to justify.
Yeah, it's going to be ruled out, especially when you're a content creator, most of the perks of it is going to be the free stuff that you get, right?
Yeah, and I think this is also one of those things where I wonder how many people actually try. I
truthfully didn't even think about getting deductions for the wedding. I just thought it was all gone.
Yeah.
No matter what. But I could see where, you're talking about different cultural weddings. Mine was 1 day long and it was expensive. In your culture, sometimes it's a week long.
Yeah.
And there's multiple parties, multiple events. There's 400, 500 people there. In that scenario, I'd probably be like, all right, how do I get some of this money back? Right? So I could see, people this coming across. But the reality is there's probably much better ways in order for you to, listen, not that it's a bad thing to spend money on your wedding, but there's probably better ways to spend money where you're going to get more deductions for your business than trying to do it through, this ceremony that's meant to be for you and your wife, especially if you want to stay married. It sounds like trying to get through any of this stuff with your wife's approval is going to be tough to do.
Yeah, look, some of the things that kind of make sense are you do the client reception.
The week before, if it's a destination wedding, or you're deducting the food that you're donating, or some of the gifts if you're a wealthy family. There's definitely pieces in there.
You have an entire happy hour or cocktail hour before your wedding, right? But you have a separate room that is just for business associates that they have like a key card to.
Yeah.
Like probably all going to get billed under one thing. You segment out that space and that room.
That cigar room, or that after hour cocktail event, or maybe there's higher end liquor in there, you pay a little bit more for it.
Here's a question for a tax attorney. So if there's any tax attorneys that watch this ever, could Sean's son sponsor my wedding?
Could your company sponsor your own wedding?
Well, I think the starting point is going to be how often am I sponsoring people's weddings? And if this is the only one.
Right. So pick 3 friends, sponsor the other 2, and then sponsor this one. So
spend $50,000 sponsoring a bunch of people's weddings so that you can write
everybody's jacket has Sean Sons on the back of the jacket. You're walking down the aisle, has your logo on the sleeve, like you're guys going to a sporting event.
Exactly.
Listen, if you went to that extent, I'm sure a judge would be like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe you guys actually did this. No problem. we're going to let you write it off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same. I think about that a lot, not to kind of segue out of this, but I think about that a lot when I see people driving around and they, obviously they deduct their car, but their entire car is wrapped in their business. And then there's other people that don't do that and they get somewhat of the same benefits for doing that. So it's kind of the same concept. How do you prove that you're using it in the industry? And if I'm going to sponsor my own wedding, the business gets a deduction for it.
My stance to people is if you're parking your car in your own driveway,
right,
and you really got an audit on this, you're not going to get it anyway. So why are you wrapping it?
Right, exactly. There's no point in doing it, right? For sure. Well, look, hopefully this was helpful for some people who are either getting married this season or people who are, thinking about how expensive it's going to be and trying to figure out if I can get deductions. We'll save you the time, the thought, the ChatGPT search, and the headache. 90% of the time, the answer is you're not going to be able to do it. Or it's not going to make enough sense where you spend the time and effort to do it that you're going to get a reasonable, deduction
donate some food, donate some flowers.
Donate some food, see what opportunities you have to maybe incorporate business people there.
Yeah.
And then just enjoy your wedding and be comfortable with the fact that you made this decision to get married and the cost comes with it.
That's it.
Right. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you jumping on, and we look forward to seeing you on the next segment. Thank you.
Bye.